All right, today we are going to talk about growing up biracial in America. All right, so I just really wanted to make this video just to be shining lights on maybe parents who have biracial children, or if you're biracial and you can relate, let's talk about it. So, first of all, my mom is white, my dad is black. So, sorry. Not only did I grow up biracial, but my mom and my dad, they were like, ooh, let's see, like 15 or 20 years apart. So I also had an old dad. My dad was born in 1930. So if you can imagine being raised by a parent that was born in 1930 and all the stuff they had to go through. So yeah, that's a different story. But anyway, I grew up with my mom and my dad. Doesn't mean that's, the best thing in the world. Sometimes having two parents in the home is not the best, especially when when it's not a good situation, anyway, okay, I'm gonna stay on topic. And growing up biracial, I grew up biracial. My mom is white, my dad is black. I grew up in the hood. I was raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I grew up not far from Black Wall Street. If you don't know what Black Wall Street is, look it up.
The legacies of Black Wall Street, it's important for people to remember because there are so many people who have no idea that there were these vital, dynamic places where African Americans were living out their vision of the American dream, aiding opportunity and hope and progress for their communities.
It's very good information. It was a thriving area for Black people, and there was a massacre in 1921 that happened there of Black Wall Street. It's very, very good information. You should look it up and do some research about it. But anyway, so I grew up in a part of town where it was very Black, and someone being there that was white stood out a lot. So there was a lot of things that I remember going through when I was a child. I remember, being small, being young, and going home in the car with my mom. My dad wasn't in there, and people yelling out like, you on the wrong side of town. My mom always kept a gun. She always had a strap. Her and my dad, they were gun people. So they always, protected us and protected themselves. But it was just the fact of being exposed to that. People's yelling out, my mom's on the wrong side of town, telling us to get down in the car, those type of things. This was back in the 80s. So yeah, just imagine. And so I remember also going to school and having friends until they noticed or they saw, because when they called the house, nobody can tell my mom was white. She grew up in that part of town also. She was one of the first white people to be, when they integrated the schools from being segregated, she was one of the first white kids to go to a predominantly Black school. It was called Booker T. Washington. And so she was around Black people all her life. So that's just who she was. And of course, she married someone who was Black and had children. And so it was a lot. It was just something that, you sometimes tend to get used to, which is not a good thing. But also the dynamic of my family was I was only around the Black side of my family. I was only around Black people. My mom's people were all racist. They was all racist. Some of them was Ku Klux Klan. I think it might have been one or two of them that we may have been around that, weren't discriminatory. She didn't take us around the ones that were. So there was only a couple of people that I even knew from my mom's family. So of course, I identify as a Black woman, period. I am a Black woman. I love my mama. She is white. She knows I love her. I identify with her because she's my mom. But as far as identifying as a mixed child, I identify as a Black, proud Black woman. But that wasn't always easy because going to school as a child, like I was saying, once kids found out, I'm talking about from the elementary school, once kids find out my mom is white, oh, they were not my friends anymore at all. They would take me to the field and bully me. They would try to fight me. I didn't understand why. Of course, I didn't tell my mom. I never said anything to my mom. It was, sometimes you go to school and you deal with things and you don't say anything to your parents. But it happened a lot. I had long hair. I was always the girl who was, oh, you light skinned and long hair, so you think you cute. If I had a damn nickel for every time I heard somebody say that. But I had to get through because we grew up in the hood. We grew up around Black people, and that's just what it was. And so there was times, I know that it hurt my mom's feelings because there was times where she wanted to go in schools with me, and I was like, no. You cannot go in the school with me. No, what are you talking about? You gonna do what? And she didn't know. She had no idea, but this is what we were going through. It was me and my sister. So those are things that you go through as a biracial child. You really feel you don't fit. You don't fit. White people feel like you're not white enough. Black people feel like you're not Black enough. And you're left in the middle like, okay, so where do I fit in? Because not only did girls not want to be my friend anymore once they found out my mom was white, I was always called the white girl. And it's so annoying. It was really, really annoying. It was heartbreaking. It was I just wanted to be me. I didn't want you to always be calling me, oh, you white, you a white girl. It's sometimes, people who do that or call you that, they don't realize the effect that it can have on you. It really leaves you feeling lost and not knowing who you are. So it is something, to be aware of. I remember going to middle school, and I had to harden up. I really hardened at a young age because of those type of things. By the time I get middle school, and of course I'm going to an all Black school. I live in the hood. It's just what it is. And once I get there, I'm like, no, this year is 6th grade. It's not happening this year. So I would get in trouble a lot. And my parents didn't understand, which is crazy because they should have. They know the child that they made a biracial child. Like, y'all, we living in the hood. so I'm sorry that y'all thought I was just going to be accepted because of y'all love. But no, it was hard. It was really hard, being shaped the way that I'm shaped. I have a nice shape, I'm light skinned. I have long, cute hair, but that's just who I am. I don't judge others because of who they are. I never did. It was never that for me. But I was always the one being judged because of who I was. And that's not easy. But yes, so it leaves you in the middle. Just because you grow up doesn't mean that you still know, who you are. Yes, I identify as a Black woman, period. Always will, always have. And it still leaves, because even as an adult, I have friends who call me the white girl, and it would be so annoying. Yes, I started being like, okay, I really don't like when you call me that, because it triggers things in me from my past. And also dealing with, who am I? Being comfortable in my skin, being comfortable with my features of being from being biracial, having white features, having Black features. I see people always talking on the internet, oh, you should identify with your white side too. Like, you can't tell someone who to identify with. You can't tell someone who, you don't know where they came from. The white people that was in my family didn't identify with me because my dad was black. So why should I have to identify with being white? Even being mixed, do you think that the police is gonna look at me and be like, oh, you mixed, you okay? No, they look at me as a black woman. The same racism that black people get, you still get as a biracial child, as a biracial adult, as a biracial human being. But being biracial is beautiful. It's what it is. You know, whoever you are, whatever you identify with is who you are. And to grow up, you have to really get comfortable being in the skin that you're in. So I didn't realize how much it really still affected me until 3.5 years ago, I moved to the continent of Africa. And coming to Africa, the country that I went to first was Senegal. Senegal, everybody is really dark complected. So when I go, and me being light skinned, immediately I'm thrown back into being called I'm white. And it's like, wait, I escaped the US because of racism. I was tired of all the racism and I didn't want my kids to have to be exposed to that. So now I'm back in the same thing. So it's like, okay, I have to look at spirit, have to talk to spirit, talk to my soul and be like, okay, is this something that I'm supposed to go through to become comfortable in my own skin no matter what anybody is saying? Because I'm telling y'all, I lived in Senegal. I was called the word that they call for white people. I was moved to Gambia, same thing. I mean, they argue with my kids. 2 of my kids are lighter complected. The other one of my, there's 3 of them that are lighter complected that were with me. One is really dark complected. Same parents. They would call my lighter children the Tuba, which means white. And they would say that my other son, because of the color of his skin, that he's not. It's like, I'm stepping back in this world again. So really, they had to go through a bit of that. And also, you know, me and teaching them to be comfortable in their own skin, no matter what they say, you know who you are. It's okay. People are going to try to, from the outside, identify you as something that you are not. Just like people saying, oh, you think you cute because you light skin with long hair. No, you are projecting that because obviously you think I'm cute because I'm light skin and long hair. I just am who I am. So yes. So I still have to deal with, you know, in the US, I was looked at as being black, but coming to the continent, I was truly looked at as being white. Like, they did not see me as being black, period. And I also had some incidents where I saw actual people who were Senegalese or Gambian, and they were mixed. They spoke the local language, they were from there, and they were called Tubab also. Same thing as what I went through as a child, being called the white girl, even though, you know, I identify as being black on my birth certificate. What do you think it says? There is no mixed, none of that. You are black. I learned when I was in Senegal where the word, mulatto came from. My mom used to say I was mulatto, and I never liked that word. For some reason, my soul did not resonate with that word. And when I went to Senegal, I learned where that word came from. It is a French word that they made up. Supposedly means black and white for when slavery was going on, when they were sleeping with the black women, the white slave owners were sleeping with the black women, and they were producing mixed children, and they called them mulatto. They separated them. All of that history, I learned where that word came from. I knew it was the reason why I didn't like that word and did not like to be called that word. But I am a black woman. I love myself. I have become very comfortable in my own skin and who I am, where I come from, and it just is what it is, and I identify as a black woman. If you are biracial and you identify as white, that is your business. I feel like whoever we are and who we identify with is who we identify with. And if you have biracial children, you need to make sure that you are teaching them about both sides. Because for one, I know my mom did a really good job about teaching me about my Black history. That's for sure. She knew also at the time, she really did know the things and the troubles that I could possibly, or we could possibly go through. And she did a good job. She knew the hate that her family had, and she did not expose us to that. Period. She did not. She didn't play that. She loved us fully and wholeheartedly. And yes, I identify again as a Black woman. I feel like if you have biracial children, you need to make sure you are talking to them. If they want to identify as Black, that is okay. Because guess what? The rest of the world is going to do that. That's the way they're going to see them. And then they may see them as something else. But whatever they identify with and they're comfortable with, it is okay. It does not mean that you are denying, saying you are not that. I know that my mom is white. I know that I have history of white in me. I know that. I do not deny that. I'm not dumb. It is what it is. But I identify as a beautiful Black woman, period. All right, I just wanted to talk on that subject. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, and peace. I will see you next time.